righty, welcome in and welcome back, everybody, to Sports Prophet TV. After a little break, we are back at it with more MLS predictions. Not for tonight, as the midweek slate is winding down. We're, of course, looking at the Saturday, Sunday slate for this weekend as MLS returns. And, most of MLS returns except for Inter Miami, because, of course, they are still playing in the Club World Cup. Congratulations to them. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll have much of a run, but I'm, glad to see that they made the knockouts. But yeah, that kind of brings me to it. Garrett, how have you been doing the last couple of weeks, and how are we feeling?
I'm glad that MLS is back. I'm probably as glad for MLS to be back as I have been since that first game of the season rolls around every year, right? Like, I need this Club World Cup nonsense to be gone so I can actually move on and play meaningful games again.
Well, you shouldn't have too much of an interruption now moving forward, since we're only missing one team. But, for those of us who enjoyed the Club World Cup, we're winding down to the end of the group stage, and we have knockouts. So that'll be interesting to see, who prevails. But how did you end up doing on your midweek card today?
It is still ongoing right now. I'm looking around. Cincinnati team total came home. Nashville went to play the best defense in the East and that game had 5 goals. So Nashville won, but the double chance and under 3.5 at evens lost, unfortunately. That's sometimes how it goes. I was on Damiani pretty heavily tonight with Chicago. His early penalty, though, actually sucked a lot of that attack out of that game. So we'll see if he can get 2 more shots here in the second half. Sporting KC team total under 1.5 is they have 0 right now at the 66th minute. So it's trending like it might be a decent midweek slate. So I'm happy with it.
Sweet. Cool. Well, we will go ahead and jump into it here. Actually, give me 1 sec. We had some technical.
And I did. I had to put on the new Miami kid because they won the group, man. I did not think that was going to happen. I thought there was a good chance they didn't get out of the group. It was the most competitive group, I think, odds-wise, before the Club World Cup started. And when you release a sick kit, I'll pay a little homage to you.
Yeah, the kits are awesome. Those were probably the favorite ones that I've seen so far, as far as the the alternate ones or whatever. But I was equally surprised that Miami got out of the group. They just showed up. Messi had an insanely awesome Messi free kick, and there was, even Suarez, turned back the clock for a minute there. So
speaking of kits, I think MLS is trying to drop between 12 and 15 kits next month, third kits for teams.
Oh man,
I'm just gonna take a second mortgage out, man.
Dude, yeah, they're not cheap. I'll tell you that.
Nashville's getting a retro kit. Nashville's been around a handful of years. Sure, I'll take it. Whatever.
A retro kit. What did you follow Nashville at all when they were USL?
Yeah, of course.
They were kind of a big deal even then. They had big attendance and stuff, right?
Yeah, no, they were doing well. They played at the minor league ballpark.
Yeah.
And the minor league ballpark was new at the time when they kind of started. So they just had good vibes. It was a fun. There was they did throwback prices on the concessions,
that's
stuff.
cool.
So it was a good time, man. And now they're at that killer stadium playing extremely well. I mean, going to New England and getting a win tonight. It's 10 now, unbeaten. That's a 10-game run. Sam Surridge is the Golden Boot leader, and we are on him. So now we are well in the race as we try to win 5 times in a row. It's insane. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped tonight, man. The results are going
Yeah. Five straight would be just absurd. I mean, at that
4
point,
straight's absurd. I don't even know what 5 is.
yeah, at that point, I need to like send in like an anonymous like tip to the CIA and see if you have like what was the movie where they had like the old sports almanac, Back to the Future?
Yeah, Back to the Future. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got was it Buff? Is it
Biff.
Biff? Yeah.
All right, we will get right into it. We are leading things off today with Montreal at home, hosting NYCFC.
Yeah. It's similar to why I was on Cincinnati team total over 1.5 as a road team. We're just fading Montreal probably the rest of the season. Like I didn't like this team coming into this season. I said they were too young. It's proving out that way right now. They are the worst team. There's zero ambition or investment. It just happened that MLS payrolls came out today. Montreal has the smallest payroll of any club in MLS. I think they're also, and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they've never paid a transfer fee for a DP. I'm pretty sure. I
Jesus.
think all their DPs have been free moves. So that speaks to the issue in and of itself. But yeah, like I said, they went super young. These kids lack experience and leadership. I think there's promise there with these kids in like 2 to 3 years, but I don't think Montreal brought them in to be on the team in 2 to 3 years. So Saliba looks like he's off to the Netherlands. One of their best prospects. For the time being, though, for whatever reason, books are going to give road teams some value as they come into Montreal. Like Cincinnati was plus 130 tonight. You keep the stats say like since he's got to like have some positive regression at some point, right? Like all the stats are there. But this is where like the stats meet your eye test, right? And like really bad teams are just really bad. And like that's why the stats say what they are. We still got the team total tonight at plus money. I just said maybe Montreal does something and gets a draw and it's a crazy 2-2 or something like that. No, since he took care of business, they handled it. So the play here is going to be NYCFC draw no bet. NYC, I think, have one win on the season on the road, but they've got almost a handful of draws. So this is a game where I totally see at least NYCFC getting a point here. The draw no bet at minus 122 when I took it earlier today is it's just really good push protection. I think there's totally a world where NYC comes in and takes all 3 points. But yeah, you're just fading Montreal, man. If they're going to give you if they're going to give you road teams at plus money, which typically in MLS you're going to get road teams at plus money, like unless you're just really, really awful or playing just a stud of a team. But Montreal is going to have that value there, I think, going forward for a while, where you're going to get good looks at road teams coming in who can get something out of the game when they play this team. Montreal is just a fade for me, maybe for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, if Montreal is not the worst team in the league, they're right there, in the discussion with. I mean, they probably are the worst team in the league, but they even if you wanted to argue against that, they're right there at the bottom. So, NYCFC, nothing crazy special, but they are a solidly built Major League Soccer team. And Montreal, I think some of that odds making here is just their historically they've been so good at home, even when they've had subpar teams. But like you said, this is not really a regular subpar Montreal team. This is like an abysmal Montreal team. This is as bad as we've seen at Montreal. Extra, an extra scoop of horribleness there. So I like it. I like having the push protection of Montreal, somehow scratches out a draw and it's their day, right? So always draw no bets. One of my favorite bets in handicapping footy. Because of situations like this, you get the better team with the push protection, right? So I like it. All right, on to our next one. New York Red Bull was on them tonight. Looked really nice coming out the gate. Lewis Morgan was back. The Scottish striker, and dude, he was out for so long, 3 or 4 months, and tweaked something again. He's out, right? So it sucks to see. But Choupo-Moting is also out. They lost one of their better offensive fullbacks in this game. I'm blanking on his name, but he's definitely a guy that gets involved in the attack. He's out as well. So like right now they're going to be running with like their third or fourth best option at striker here. And Minnesota, look, I've tried to bet some of their road unders so far this season because they're defensively are actually really good. So situationally, I tried. Like I tried a couple of weeks ago with them at Seattle. I thought that'd be a very defensive game. It was 0-0 until like the 55th minute, and there was like 3 goals in the span of 6 minutes or something, right? So not going to let that spook me. I'm going back to similar angle here. I think this is like maybe I could see either team winning this game, but I think it's low scoring. I think it's like, under 2.5 is the direction I'm going here. -105. This probably moves because Lewis Morgan's out, Choupo-Moting is out. So like eventually the Sharps are probably going to get to this one, and you'll see this probably be like a juiced under 2.5. I don't know if it gets down to 2.25. It wouldn't shock me, right? But we were talking about this team before the show. Just hard to see where the attack comes from here with Red Bull New York, and like I said, Minnesota. They've been really solid defensively. They've been one of the better MLS teams this season in that regard.
This is an interesting matchup if the teams are healthy. Red Bulls are one of the best home teams in the league. And their goal differential at home is just insane. But yeah, Lewis Morgan goes back down. And like you could just tell in his face, like when he went down, he knew something was up. He immediately called for the trainers. They worked him a little bit, subbed him out. I don't think it was a precautionary. I think like he's back. He's going to be injured again and miss some time. I don't expect to see him this weekend. Cameron Harper, I believe, is out for the season now. I think he had surgery. He was another guy who's kind of like helped out in that Red Bull attack. He's done. We talked about Sofo. Like you like Sofo a lot. I just think he's just in a good vein right now as far as like I think all his goals have been rebound goals, or at least that's what I've seen. So he's not really like helping create. It's just the balls fall into him at the right time. And good on him. He's finishing those chances when they come. I'm looking at this game now, just like knowing what we know, right? And just I think Minnesota to score is a good parlay piece here, potentially at like -250, somewhere around there. You said you could see either side winning this. I'm still leaning more on the Minnesota side. And so like Minnesota, like because Minnesota double chance right now is playable. It's a little juiced, but it's playable. I don't know if I want to eat that juice here, but if I could do Minnesota double chance in like under 3.5 at like plus money, like I think it's like plus
That's
120
nice.
or something like that. Like that feels like a good spot to be in. I do like the under 2.5. Like I'm for some reason I'm getting pulled toward Minnesota with just these injuries building up for Red Bulls. I think Red Bulls are going to be fadeable at times here. If Morgan's out long term, no Harper. Moting is due for regression from a goal efficiency standpoint. Like he cannot continue that efficiency level, in my opinion. So like there's just a lot of things starting to stack up against this Red Bull side where I think you're going to get some valuable spots on teams they're playing against. And Minnesota's a good road team. They've lost only 2 games all season long on the road. Another team that's got a handful of draws there. So like somewhere where you can get action on both for them to win or to draw, like that double chance we talked about, I think is good. So yeah, under goals here. I dig. I still think Minnesota can find one. And so, like I said, that's a strong parlay piece for me potentially coming into this weekend. And then plus money on the Minnesota double chance under 3.5. I think there's a ton of good angles here for this game. All of them speaking to low scoring.
Yeah, I'm with it. Look, I've made it no secret how I feel about this Minnesota United team. I mean, it's I think they're a dangerous squad especially when they're healthy and they've got everybody. They are a team that could absolutely make a run this season, but they've just they've been one of the more organized teams, especially on the road. So, gonna roll with the under here, and just real quick to kind of at least respond to what you said about Minnesota potentially scoring here. I think that's solid. I mean, I think they're you're any road team in MLS, you're typically going to have nice value. It's just as far as like sports betting prices on them, right? So not a bad parlay piece. Like I said, dude, if they won this game 2-0, I'm not shocked because when Lewis Morgan went out today, that was it. They had created 1.25
Red Bulls look
XG.
so good with him out there, man.
No,
It looks so good. And I get it. I get it. They were playing Toronto. Like Toronto's not great, especially without Flores there and stuff. But man, dude, he just makes this team different, right? He gives
oh yeah,
Forsberg an outlet. He gives this team an experienced attacker up top that's not pedestrian.
yes,
And you know how I feel about Juba. So
yeah, right. But yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. All right, on to
they're
the
slapping
next.
Houston right now 3-0.
There, yeah, I saw that. Absolutely kicking butt, dude. Minnesota's a good team, brother. All
Our
righty,
future
Orlando.
show said so.
What was that?
I said our future show said so.
That's right. We definitely got some loons action.
Oh, right. So this is going to be Orlando hosting FC Cincinnati. This is my second play. So you might not know, but Cincinnati quietly have the second worst road defense in the league with 21.13 expected goals against in 10 road games.
Hmm.
That is not not good. And we know the Orlando attack is very good, right? Like overs at home have been a solid play here where over 2.5 is hitting 78% of the time for Orlando home games. That's not where we're going, though. I think Orlando will get 2 here. And if they do, I think that over hits. So instead of paying what is it, the juice on the 2.5 full game,
Yeah.
or even money on the hard 3, but you need 4 to cash, I'm going to take the team total over 1.5 at around -120 for Orlando. I think that gives me a good angle to attack the Cincinnati defense. We know Cincinnati can contribute in the attack, but in this case, I don't need them to. Orlando could totally take care of business by themselves. And so just a way for me to find some value here on a game where I do like goals, but maybe I don't want the 3 and have to get a total of 4, right? Or I don't want to eat the juice on that 2.5. So yeah, I think Orlando get 2 if that over comes home. And so we're going to lean into that percentage, lean into this Orlando attack, lean into the analytics of that Cincinnati defense. And I think we've got a nice team total play here.
Yeah, I like this. I also like to see that you are giving Orlando City another opportunity here to make you some money. I know you've kind of been down on them a little bit, so it's nice to see that.
It was just a rough stretch, man, where they go like, I'm on them for goals because like they got to come, right? And they go 3 straight games of just like, I think it was 0-0s. I think it was 3 straight 0-0s. And I'm like,
Just duds.
when you get burned like that, you just have to step away for a second and be like, listen, obviously it wasn't my time. So yes, we're back now. I mean, they were cruising early. I think it was like 25 minutes into the St. Louis game, and they already had 3 goals. St. Louis, though, is battling back, man, trying to even that up with it 2-3 right now.
Yep.
But no, we know Orlando can score. Orlando can score at home. That's a top 10 attack at home. Again, though, but that Cincinnati defense, those analytics popped out to me because since he's going to give up some goals, and as long as the USA is in the Gold Cup, Miles Robinson is away.
Yep.
Yeah, so it just feels like a good little spot here to take a nice team total.
And cherry on top here from today's action, which is always nice when we have something a little extra edge doing the show on Wednesday on midweek, right? Nwobodo, their excellent defensive mid,
Yep,
left the game in the 40th minute. That's not usually a good sign.
Looks like he pulled something. He did.
Yep.
He extended far to try to like bring a ball down. Looks like he extended something in his leg. Midweek injuries, man, you're almost never going to see those guys on the weekend.
Yep.
So yeah,
And
I think here
that's a tough
and
position to miss defensively.
mhm, they don't have anybody who fills in for his role like he does it. He is their enforcer, and they don't have another one on that squad. And then also like we talked about not being able to recover from injuries going to from midweek to the weekend. This is one of the rare weekends where I don't think we see a lot of rotation because these teams were off last week, right? With all the action, Gold Cup, Club World Cup. MLS just had a weekend off. So the teams actually got some rest. It appeared where they could really use some rest, right? Like you're at the point in the season where like you're starting to feel it. So getting a week off, I think these guys came back fresh tonight. We've seen that with some totals that we're seeing where like most midweeks, you don't usually see me on some overs. I did expect some goals tonight, though, in some matchups. So I don't think you get a lot of rotation this weekend because of that. There's no midweek next week. I think you got one game on Thursday or something like that. And so teams are back in their regular schedule. So, yeah, outside of injuries or suspensions like red cards, yellow card accumulation, stuff like that, I would expect most teams to roll out their strongest 11 come this weekend, even having played tonight.
Sweet. All righty, on to the next one we go. We've got Houston Dynamo hosting St. Louis City. This one, we need the sound effect, the button, whatever it is, because it's a gut play, right? We're going back to the old gut play well here. And yes, St. Louis City, they got in a little bit of a track meet today, and they're down 4-2 right now at home to Orlando City. But since I watched them, I want to say probably on the road against Portland a couple of weeks ago, something's kind of jumping out to me about this team. They've got a little bit of life, reinvigorated a little bit. Their XG numbers have skyrocketed since the new coach, right? Not necessarily getting all the results yet. They had a 3-3 at home against LA Galaxy. That was a really fun game. But I'm going to take them here. I did check the weather. It's going to be a high of 88 that day, which is warm, but it's not like dead of summer 105 in Houston. It's 88. Like I know, some people from overseas, that's really hot, but 88, not going to kill you. It's not 110, which it will be later this summer. You can believe that. So I'm taking St. Louis plus a half a goal, or sometimes your books will have this listed as a double chance. They're the same bet. So, either way is fine with me. I don't really think Houston's anything this season. I'm not really scared of them. And I think St. Louis City has turned a corner. João Klaus is the healthiest I've seen him in maybe a full season, right? And that's a huge deal for this team because healthy João is a completely different player, which is, really great to see. Getting a nice price on, a double chance here for St. Louis City. Yes, again, it is a gut play. St. Louis City, I realize where they are in the standings, right? I'm completely aware, but not really impressed with Houston. I don't think there is all that much between the two, and I think St. Louis City is capable of going down and getting a result. They've looked a lot better lately.
So this is interesting to me because Houston, if you've watched this show for a few years now, Houston's home field advantage was like something like we noted and talked about. Like even if
Right.
we didn't like that Houston team, when they had value at home, you took them because their just home field advantage was just crazy good.
Yep.
It is not this season. They are not good at home. I don't think this Houston team is good in general, but Houston has been a gut play favorite of us this season. I think I was on Houston Sporting Kansas City, both teams to score a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Like that's just a gross play, right? But it hit no problem. So you just got to pick your spots. I will say to your St. Louis side that you could have put me as the coach of St. Louis, and St. Louis would have looked better because I would not be playing an 11 block. And that's what they were doing. They just had everybody back. weren't giving their team any chances. St. Louis is not a good finishing team. They never have been a good finishing team. Where they excelled, though, is they forced turnovers in the final third, basically in their opponent's third half. And you force those turnovers, you're going to give yourself good opportunities, one-on-one with goalkeepers, two-on-ones with the defense, and you can make things happen if you can force those turnovers. They're just playing more aggressive. And it's helping and hurting them, right? Because you look at Orlando, where it's 4-2 now, Orlando. Part of that is because St. Louis is no longer just sitting back, right?
Yep.
But they are actually scoring now because they are actually trying to go forward. It's amazing what happens if you try to attack the goal. So I don't know where I fall on this. I don't want Houston at home with juice. It's like minus 115. I don't want any part of that.
Yep.
So I totally see the appeal in St. Louis double chance. It is, though. It is 100% a gut play. Like I was trying to find some other way to word that, and no, like, that's just what it is. And we have those. We have those on this show, and they typically do okay. So, like, even if I don't like either team here, I totally understand. I get it. Like, and the values there, it makes sense.
Yeah, it is. It is a gut play. One day I'll go back and track all the gut plays, and I guarantee you they're north of 60%. I mean, I think,
sometimes it's the ugliest plays that win you the most.
My guy GT reposting the stream. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, bud. All righty. On to the next.
So it's my favorite spot of the weekend. San Jose hosting the LA Galaxy. And I'm going to break this up in different ways because I've got actually two different looks here on this game. The first just being an easy San Jose team total over 1.5. It's like minus 128, minus 130 when I took it earlier today. It's the second best home attack in the league. We know the Galaxy defense is atrocious. They've got 19 expected goals allowed through 9 road games this season. That's not even counting tonight. Like that those numbers will go up. The total for this game, though, is at a 3.25. So this is, again, similar to what I did with Orlando. This is just a simple pivot for me with a home team total that's very playable, where they probably get 2 if the full game total gets there. Yeah. And so I like this San Jose attack at home. Road San Jose is different for me, man. I don't mess with them much. Home San Jose, you can just see the comfort level there. It's just better. They play better, like most teams do when they're at home. And so, yeah, this is a playable team total over 1.5, where I could see this game going a lot of ways, man. I'm still not high on this San Jose defense at all. Like, if you said Galaxy win this 3-2, I'd be like, well, yeah, that's definitely like in the cards. So, yeah, we're going to break this up a different way. But the first one's going to be just a simple team total over 1.5 is because it's playable. I'm going to attack those team totals here with teams getting some rest at home. Those are just good plays, man. Those team totals have just been solid. So, yeah, for San Jose, that's the first play. And then do you have another one, or are you going to be – oh, here we go. So I'm just going to pivot straight into my fourth play of the show, and it's a parlay. And I'm going to focus on the Austin Sounders game, but this is just – the San Jose side is just both teams to score. Yep. It's delicious. And, again, it's where, like, both teams to score plus over 2.5. Like, okay, Garrett, if you're playing the team total over 1.5 and both teams to score, why not do just both teams to score plus over 2.5? Well, because it's super juiced. I don't want to eat that juice. I like it. I like that play just fine. I just don't want to eat that juice here when I'm already got a comfortable team total that I'm on.
Right.
So, but I'm adding the both teams to score here because I just needed something to make this next play easier to digest, right? And it's Austin to score. Just score as they travel to Seattle. So Nuhu and Bell are both suspended for Sounders. I've always liked Sounders totals, like just full game totals, more when Nuhu is out of the game. Their attack just flows better. Nuhu he's a character, right? But he plays decent defense for the MLS. Like I can't hate on that. But I mean, like, these Sounders fans cheer if Nuhu just decides to shoot the ball, let alone like if it goes anywhere. They get excited when he shoots. because it's just not something he does. He just doesn't have an attacking bone in his body. But he's suspended. And so Sounders actually get down 2 defensive players here to suspension. So they're going to have to mix some things up. They also just had the Club World Cup grind. All right. And so, like, I think that's going to play a part here too. I don't know what we see in that 11, but those dudes are not going to be fresh like we are seeing with these other teams. I don't think Austin didn't play tonight, did they?
No.
So Austin's got almost a full 2 weeks of just rest and training. So, like, I honestly can't believe I'm on Austin to score. But you typically don't get any MLS side just to score at a playable price range for like a straight bet. And like
Yeah.
this Austin to score is like minus 145. Like you can play it by itself even. But and even though it's just under my juice tolerance, I just like Mary Poppins said, I need a spoonful of sugar to help that medicine go down. So
Yeah.
I get San Jose, both teams to score, which is delightful to help me swallow that Austin to score play. Yeah, I get it. Like it's gross. Austin, I think, has something like 8 expected goals through 9 road games or something like that. But this is just a good spot, in my opinion. Like, if it's going to happen, if Austin's going to score on the road, it's got to be here when they're getting a Seattle, a more tired Seattle team missing defenders. And so I'm just going to eat it, but I'm not eating that juice. And so give me a tasty both teams to score in a game I really like to give it a nice like plus 140. Like that makes it easier to go down.
Yeah, I like that analogy here. You know, we've talked about Austin and that attack all season, but yeah, Seattle, they're also missing Kim, and then Yamar is probably doubtful. So I don't know who they're going to trot out there at those 2 other defensive positions, right? So definitely see where you're coming from. I've banned myself from betting any Austin games at this point in my Austin journey. No betting Austin for me. But I definitely see what you're cooking here. I like it. Austin, believe it or not, has looked not horrible on the road, and that's kind of because they've got some speed out wide and they sit back a lot, right? So turns out that's not a bad way to play if that's your roster, which somebody should tell Nico that. But yeah, I like it. And man, that Quakes game, I just don't know why it's playable. Like, it's, again, like, why is San Jose team total playable? And they're at home too. Like, I don't know what we're doing here, sports books.
It's just interesting, man. We're getting full game totals where the books clearly expect the road teams to like be competitive and participate in that game. And that's fine. Like they probably will be. But both those attacks, Orlando and San Jose, can easily put up 2 in those matchups.
Yeah. I guess that's what it is. It's more about a side versus side pricing that's giving us a good price on those totals there.
Are you ready for bad beat of the season so far?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. I just talked about Sporting Kansas City, team total under 1.5. It was that they had 0 in the 66th minute when we got it on the show. Okay. They just scored in the 90 plus 4 and the 90 plus 6.
Oh,
Charlotte
heavens.
just collapsed.
Bro, that's brutal.
So I lose the team total, which, granted, analytically, the team total should have been done. But KC only had 0.54 expected goals at half. But they put on 20 shots, man. 20 shots. That's when you just get expected goals by volume right there, right? So, like, yeah, just lost the team total in 6 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, that's one of those. All you can do is just say, well, okay, that's how it's going to be today.
Yeah, that was just you just got to move on from that one.
Pretty much.
That hurts.
Golly, I mean, I've been there for sure, but golly, brother. All right, so real quick before we close it out here, who do we think's winning the old Club World Cup? I got 4 futures and they're all alive.
Then I'll just jump on your futures. I don't know, man. Yeah,
And what
that,
do you think? Like,
that
because
tournament screwed me up.
there has been so much back and forth about, because like obviously the South American teams have done really well, in particular the Brazilian clubs, right? In comparison to the European, like they've been whooping ass. So is it just completely motivation, or is the South America a little bit closer to Europe than we thought?
No, South America's always had talent. I mean, how many South Americans end up playing in Europe, right?
Yeah,
Like South America just churns out talent. Um, I think it's a more complex question where for a while South America just kind of isolated itself from the soccer community. Like they had their fans, they had their players, and they just kind of built a wall around everything else, right? Like um Copa Libertadores is theirs. Uh they play at an opposite time from Europe, and so it just kind of became their little soccer island. Uh but I think, I mean, we talked about this before this tournament started, where we said the South American clubs are probably going to make some noise. They're in the middle of their season. They're fresh. They're not, fatigued from a long season like these European clubs are. And it is much easier to make the argument for quote unquote lesser teams to get up to play these big boys than it is for these big boys to get up to play these teams from other continents, right?
yeah,
Um, so I think there was always value in South American sides. Now I think as we get down here to like the quarters, the semis, stuff like that, I think that's when you're going to see the cream really rise to the top here a little bit.
yeah,
Because those paychecks get bigger the closer you get to that final. But no, South American sides are talented. Like there's a plethora of talent there. I don't think that's ever been in question. I just think some of this is South America doing it to themselves, where they they like their soccer and their fans, and they kind of have isolated themselves somewhat.
for sure. So here's kind of what we're working with here. Obviously, this can change. As of now, if the results hold tonight, River Plate is going to be out in favor of Monterey. They will qualify instead of River Plate, which is kind of wild. But looking at this right here, I think that, you got two Brazilians playing each other in the top left right away. Another Flamingo, who a lot of people say is the best Brazilian club right now. They got to play Bayern Munich, who wants to win this tournament. So that's a tough matchup there. So right away, it's like if Byron beats Flamingo, which they'll be favored. Palmeiras has got to play probably Chelsea in the second round. Like, kind of what you're saying. I do think the Europeans, like now that they're here in the knockouts, you'll start to see a little more drive from them. I mean, I'm hopeful, right? Like I'm hopeful that one of these Brazilian teams that makes a crazy run to the final. I mean, that'd be a blast, right? But I don't know. I'm a little more cautious about it. I think that the Europeans might end up showing their depth here as we go down the home stretch. But
FIFA got what they wanted though. They got the Messi revenge game versus PSG.
oh yeah, they did.
They couldn't have scripted that any better.
Yeah, and
PSG
PSG is
sitting
like,
at -2 right now.
yeah, they're like minus 1,200 or something, right?
-550.
Oh, okay, interesting. I
Um,
mean,
I don't know, man. Like I still think you're still gonna go with like the most talented, right? So like that in that case, you're looking at PSG, right? I mean, I'm never gonna back Chelsea. I just Chelsea finished top four and it felt underwhelming. Like it's just a team that like when you spend that kind of money and bring in that kind of talent, like you just expect more out of it, right? And like So I don't know. Dortmund, I think Dortmund is good, man. I think the Dortmund side is really good. So that's interesting. And then what is that? City and Real Madrid?
Yep. But that changes if
Yeah.
either of them win their next game.
I think they both might win their next game.
Yeah. So I'm
But
gonna
but it still would be the studs, right? PSG, Real Madrid. I think I like Dortmund more than Bayern, but Bayern's right there too. Those are probably the four. Um, and so like it's always still just the big studs, right? Like I can't see like some crazy surprise here in the final. Like
I could
when
see Palmeiras making the Final Four out of this.
maybe, but like that again, that's and like Palms is a very talented side. Like those dudes just churns prospects like Dortmund does, right?
Yeah.
Like they just. But if they go up against one of these big boys, I don't think it's really close, right? Like it's different playing in the US and not playing in front of, in your home stadium. Like this is a huge road trip for all these teams, right? To just constantly be touring the US like this. But it's going to be one of the big boys, but that's not a hot take.
Right. Cool. Alrighty, folks. Well, that will do it for us. And of course, now that we're back, we'll be back at it next
Oh,
Wednesday. Yep.
you want to talk about LAFC real quick?
Um, about the transfers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where like they
absolutely.
might be resetting their DPs this summer.
They're scrapping it. They're basically scrapping it.
Where it looks like Bawanga, nothing's final, but Bawanga could be off to Club America
Yep.
for a really good fee for a 30-year-old attacker. Like you'll take that.
Yep.
There's even talk of Giroud going back to France. So like, yeah, they could be hitting the reset button here in the summer, which I think makes them like a target for me to start fading.
For now.
DP, even when I think even if they bring in DPs over the summer, I think that's just going to help the value out. Summer DPs, they just typically, not always, some click instantly and take off. But summer DPs, where you got guys who played a long season, then they come over in the summer and don't really get an off season. They just take time getting up to speed, right? Getting back into the flow of the game, getting used to the physicality of MLS, depending on what league they're coming from.
Yeah.
So yeah, LAFC might be some games where I look to fade them second half of the season with if all of those transfers work out.
Yeah, they're gonna. I could see LAFC making some pretty crazy splashes though. I'd love, dude. Just watching Griezmann in this Club World Cup tournament, that guy would absolutely murder MLS. It would be
Oh yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah. But
Yeah,
like that's why he stayed at Atletico because he can still do it, right?
he
Like
can.
why do it in MLS outside of getting paid when you
Yeah,
can do it in La Liga? Like it's just yeah,
yeah,
there's no point.
yeah. I'm excited to see such a big market. So I'm excited to see who they bring in. I'm glad that they're doing it. It's like you said.
We can take all
You,
the big names off the table. Ronaldo is re-signing in Saudi Arabia. It looks like Neymar is re-signing at Santos. So like we can just clear the slate with all those big names. We don't need those rumors anymore.
yeah, I don't even want Neymar, but um,
Oh,
it,
I didn't say he was going to be good, but like that's always like when if you want to attract fans, like Neymar still brings the
oh
fans.
yeah, oh yeah, without a doubt. All righty, well, we are going to run, folks. We'll see you next Wednesday, and I will upload this to YouTube for playback as well in case you tuned in at the end. We gave out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 official show picks. We've been on a nice little run on the show, so we'll look to keep it going with another winning week, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome, guys. Best of luck to whatever you're on. Thank you so much for your support. We'll catch you later.
Bye, guys.